Before 2017, a cargo truck moving goods across India faced a brutal physical gauntlet. Every state border meant stopping at chaotic checkposts, sometimes idling for hours or days while officials manually inspected manifests. This map illustrates the underlying legal maze. Goods were subjected to a highly convoluted web of overlapping levies: central excise duties, state VAT, service taxes, and local entry taxes. Every single tax node acted as a toll booth. As materials moved along the supply chain, these constant stops bled time from logistics companies and stacked hidden costs onto the final price tag of almost everything bought and sold. Before 2017, India functioned as dozens of disconnected, friction-heavy local markets that actively choked commercial growth. The goods and services tax was designed to bulldoze that entire structure. It replaced dozens of disparate provincial fees with one single tax on the supply of most goods and services. Executing this unification required a massive constitutional framework to legally force state and central authorities to share fiscal jurisdiction. That framework birthed the GST Council. It serves as the joint control room where state and federal finance ministers sit shoulder to shoulder to debate compliance rules, resolve disputes, and lock in exact tax rates. By forcing independent political entities to mutually govern a unified commercial zone, the rollout of the GST stands as a massive, real-world experiment in cooperative federalism. With the physical barricades removed, the system relies entirely on a digital backbone called the GST network. This infrastructure logs registrations and tracks filings at every distinct stage of commerce. This diagram shows the input tax credit. As products move from factory to distributor to retailer, buyers claim credit for upstream taxes. Lowering their final bill gives businesses a financial incentive to demand proper invoices, which effectively crowdsources tax enforcement. The credit system pushed previously unrecorded cash businesses to formalize their operations, creating a traceable digital footprint across the national economy. Taxpayer registrations surged from 66.5 lakh in 2017 to 1.65 crore by 2026. Gross revenue ran parallel, tripling from 7.4 to over 22 lakh crore. Meanwhile, the council compressed tax brackets, shifting most consumer items into just two slabs, 5 and 18%. If evaluated strictly by its ability to catalog businesses and extract revenue efficiently, the GST framework is performing flawlessly. But drop down to the ground level of this network and serious fractures appear. The heavy administrative weight of filing constant digital returns disproportionately suffocates small business owners who lack dedicated accounting departments. This graphic highlights a specific systemic flaw known as the inverted duty structure. In certain industries, the raw materials going into a factory actually face a higher tax rate than the completed product coming out. Because the math is backwards, manufacturers pile up tax credits they cannot immediately use. Claiming refunds triggers endless bureaucratic disputes, freezing essential working capital for months or even years. These systemic bugs actively distort the market, penalizing the smallest players while heavily favoring large corporations with the resources to absorb the friction. Since the Council openly acknowledges these structural glitches, the obvious question remains: why haven't they simply patched the code? The answer lies in the harsh limits of cooperative federalism. State governments fiercely guard their fiscal autonomy and refuse to vote for any structural fix that might cause a temporary dip in their local tax receipts. At the same time, massive private sector lobbies pressure the council constantly, fighting to secure highly specific, lower tax rates that protect their own product margins. The human incentive to protect narrow financial interests makes bold simplification politically toxic. This friction remains even when data proves a cleaner system would grow the economic pie for everyone. Continually celebrating record-breaking tax collections completely ignores the long-term health of the market. The finance ministry must look past the revenue graphs and prioritize ruthless systemic repair. That requires establishing faster tribunals to settle disputes and drastically cutting the paperwork required to run a small shop. The GST must evolve. The next economic phase requires a system that prioritizes friction-free commerce over the raw efficiency of tax collection.